Well, now you got into this mess by going down a waterfall. Now, how would you suppose we get them out of there?
By going up the waterfall?
That's right. Anything's possible in Disneyland.
Welcome, friends, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Up the Waterfall with your hosts, Zanna and Scott Otis.
Greetings.
This is episode number 41, which
Nice.
we are preliminarily titling Top Bone-Chilling, Fright-Filled Disney Attractions?
Oh my.
Question mark? Scariest Disney attractions. Keeping in the scary theme that we started last week with the Disney Halloween movies.
That's right.
But we don't mean scary as in, oh no, this roller coaster goes fast, I'm scared. More of things that actually may have traumatized you as a child, may still traumatize you as an adult, depending on where you're going and what you're riding. So, without further ado, which I've now said 2 weeks in a row, I really don't want to make a habit of that. We're going to jump right in. And I guess I will start with one. I mean, I'm going to start with one that's kind of weird, which I'm wearing the shirt to match it.
That says Universe of Energy.
It does, because dinosaurs always scared me.
See, there you go.
And
that's what I'm talking about.
I did not enjoy dinosaurs, so I would go on Universe of Energy, and I've talked about this on the Epcot episodes, of course, but I didn't really enjoy the dinosaur parts, so it was kind of like, I guess I'll go on, and then I would just look down, which is what my children did on the Great Movie Ride during the alien scene.
Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that.
I know.
No, I didn't.
Well, it's not there anymore, so
That's
it can't
true.
scare anyone.
You sure about that? Because that just means the alien's not accounted for.
That's a good point. No one's talked about the hidden alien in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Other dinosaurs I wasn't a fan of are in Countdown to Extinction, which is now just called Dinosaur. I've only been on that ride once. Because
It's fast. It's a blast. It's in the past.
all right. I mean, I get the jokes because people have said them so many times. But
Yeah. I mean, and they even have little things like even Bill Nye kind of tries to scare you in the pre-show about an incoming asteroid. And then Dr. Marsh
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
and all of them, they kind of tell you what's going on. And then, yeah. Then the Carnotaurus, he tries to
Yeah.
chomp
I
on
just
you a
don't-
few times.
I don't generally like loud things that yell at you a
There
lot.
are so many loud things
And
there.
roar. I talked
Yeah.
about in the Epcot episodes, or the World of Motion deep dive, I guess, how I hated the scene with the train, or I guess it wasn't the train, it was the stagecoach being held up because there was a bull on there, and he just made the loudest noise, and
Which
I did
is,
not enjoy it.
I guess, similar to a dinosaur in that way.
Yeah, so that's my dinosaur backstory.
It's very interesting that you say that because a couple of nights ago, this is kind of the inspiration to this whole thing. I actually woke up in a cold sweat, and I realized I've had some childhood trauma that I've never really dealt with. And
Tell
it
me
was
about your mother.
It was my mother. My mother took me to Disneyland, starting on my 4th birthday, and I was thinking about it. And Disneyland to me then is very similar to what like Halloween Horror Nights and Howl-O-Scream is to a lot of people today. There were a lot of very, very scary things for little me, and I was thinking about it. There's a lot of scary attractions at Disneyland for a youngster. And one of the things that I was very frightened of was, as you mentioned, the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs in the Primeval World portion of the Disneyland Railroad. That,
Oh, yeah,
especially
that's right.
that the ending scene, and both of those scenes, the ones from Universe of Energy and Primeval World, were modeled after the scene from the Rite of Spring portion of Fantasia. So, which then kind of went to the World's Fair and then came to Disneyland and was put in Universe of Energy, and yeah, it's been traumatizing children ever since. But that wasn't the only one that really did it for me as a kid. Well, actually, I was thinking about it. There were many, many, many things, including the Haunted Mansion, of course, which we'll get to later. But also, funnily enough, Monstro the Whale from Storybook Land Canal Boats.
I can understand that.
As a kid, I just could not believe it. There was a giant whale there who was eating all of these guests. And I
can imagine if I went to Disneyland before I was, however old I was, 30-something, that I would have thought the same way.
Yeah.
Because it's a very large mouth that you're going through.
Yeah, so to me, that was like number one. And of course, as I mentioned, Haunted Mansion, which, is kind of the quintessential, haunted house, scary type of a thing. It's not too devastating now, but I can imagine, a bunch of kids just being very cautious and all of that, trying to go into the Haunted Mansion now. It's a little spooky.
Mm-hmm. I always hated it as a child. And I think Gio took after me in that sense,
yes,
because we used to have to drag him on that, and Pirates, which I felt the same way about Pirates as well, because there was a lot of skeletons on there. And you had to get through the skeletons.
At Disneyland, that one's got easily
I never
twice as many skeletons. It's got that whole introductory section.
Yeah, where they're like set up in little scenes and stuff
vignettes.
In bed. But, funny, now at the ripe old age of 46, I rode Haunted Mansion yesterday, in fact, for the first time in 6 months, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And
it's a grand old time now.
Yeah. It's just like such a good Disney ride. So eventually all of your childhood traumas can be resolved.
Yes. And I think us doing this episode is part of that. It's a therapy session in that way. So because and I was thinking about it, they also put another Monstro in the Pinocchio's Daring Journey section.
That one's almost scarier because it just like it's a jump scare.
Yeah.
It's
not too much of a jump scare, but it's essentially,
if you're not paying attention and you forgot that it comes,
it's essentially the same whale, and he just kind of said, I'll be right back, I have to go scare some guests in this dark ride over here. He swims over there and does that.
Yes.
It's frightening.
But, I mean, dark rides, I guess that was kind of their intended nature.
It sure was. And Disneyland is home to many, many, many dark rides.
Yes.
Snow White's Scary Adventures was one. It actually had the word scary in there.
Yeah, and it was scary.
Yeah.
It's not as scary now.
The one at Disneyland, I mean, the one here at Magic Kingdom, it's gone.
Right. But they toned it down before it left.
They did tone it down. They added...
Disneyland is toned down too. Like it used to be, remember when it was just like literal flat cutouts of the witch and she would like flip out every time?
Now they have that whole animated sequence that they've got going on to make it seem a little bit scarier, in my opinion. And then they've got the skeletons rotting away in the dungeon.
Yeah, I guess.
Dripping blood and all of that.
How can skeletons drip blood?
I don't know, but they do. Maybe it's water. I don't know.
I think it is water.
But they drip. She keeps trying to hand you that apple.
The apple scene where it's like coming out at you is still frightening. Yes, I will give you that.
She's taunting
but the rest of it is not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, not every dark ride is like that. Peter Pan, there's not much going on there. Alice in Wonderland, I mean, the Queen of Hearts, she yells at you.
Yeah, but it's all like peaceful.
Yeah. Roger Rabbit, though, I guess it's funny doom.
Yeah, I mean, because you're spinning around and stuff. You don't have time to think about your own mortality because there's too much going on.
Although they're trying to throw dip on you.
Yes.
But then, of course, the king of it all, the Indiana Jones adventure attraction out there at Disneyland. That's pretty intense.
It is.
I mean, the whole queue section, which is super long, they're throwing a lot at you there, and they've even included a couple of little jump type scares that I don't think they're functioning as much as they used to.
Right.
But it's
yeah. I mean, a dark cave in and of itself is scary. That's why I avoided Tom Sawyer Island for 30 years.
We'll be going there. But
yeah, I was definitely, the first time I rode that, I was a little freaked out, but
Yeah.
I was an adult, so I could handle it.
Yeah. Can you imagine kids being taken in there
Yeah, I
for
guess.
the first time? With little, like
It is all in
going
good
to the
fun,
bat
though.
cave and mice and rats and things. And yeah.
But it's such a good ride.
Oh, it's fantastic. But then, of course, there's lots and lots of skeletons, lots of snakes, ghouls, demons being released from, tombs that they've been trapped in for decades, eons.
I never thought about it.
Yeah. Especially that one that's coming at you right up at the top right there.
Going back to the Great Movie Ride, that skeleton scene
Oh, yeah.
was scarier to me. Like, really, most of the Great Movie Ride is scary, except for the Tarzan part and I guess, the gangster and the
they're shooting
cowboy.
at you in there. But
it's not
the
scary.
alien scene and then the kind of like the Night of the Living Dead
Yeah,
kind of
like I hate
creepy crawly
skeletons personally.
Yeah, and it was such a small portion of the ride, but yeah, it was.
I would just look down, or I would look ahead to Tarzan to try to be okay with it. It was very panic-filling for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, I
No.
interrupted with another
We're
trip
going
to
all over
Great
the
Movie
place. But then, as you mentioned, the Tom Sawyer Island. That's actually a really good one. Both the ones at Disneyland and at Walt Disney World have their different intense areas. The one at Disneyland, they've kind of now made into the Pirates of the Caribbean themed, but they still have Dead Man's Grotto, which is a spooky cave that has like a bottomless pit. And of course, they have the bone cage that's made out of human bones.
Oh yeah.
And things like that. There's parts where the characters of Pintel and Rigetti pop up unexpectedly.
Who are those people?
Those are the little sidekick pirates, like the one guy who's lost his eyeball.
Oh, they have names?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't watch the credits.
Hello, Poppet.
Yeah, I guess I remember that being in there.
Yeah.
But didn't in the original one, I don't know if the one in Disneyland, but the one here, like Injun Joe's cave, did Injun Joe ever was he ever involved in that, or was it just like...
Not physically, but there was like a haunted version of him.
Because that's what kept me out of Tom Sawyer Island my whole life.
Well,
Because I
also-
read that in the Birnbaum book, and I was like, I don't want to run into him.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the Tom Sawyer story, they go into the cave because, there's Injun Joe is somewhere deep within. And that's kind of the story that they have there, too. And back in the old days, they didn't have lights in that tunnel.
Oh, I know.
And, so people were kind of scrambling around, just feeling their way through.
Crazy.
Yeah, they have since added lights, but it's still very creepy. And then they have the other one, which is the Magnetic Mystery Mine, which is where up is down, left is right, and
Oh, yeah.
you're kind of going uphill, but
disorienting.
downhill. It's all, they do it in such a way that it kind of messes with your mind.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's a pretty intense place too.
It is.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to Disneyland, the Matterhorn.
Yes.
The what's
That's
his name?
on my list.
Harold,
The snowman.
the abominable snowman. Back, I think it was sometime in the 70s when they added him.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah,
It was just all fun Hans and Otto before that?
yeah. Well, they weren't in the cave trying to spook people, but
No.
yeah, it was just a fun ride through the icy slopes of the majestic Matterhorn before, but then they added the abominable snowman.
Wow.
But back then it was just a little character who just kind of waved at you.
Yeah.
But they've now added some pretty intense scenes, even on the lift sequence, where he's trying
Lots of roaring.
a lot of roaring. And that's actually one of the things I love about the Matterhorn is that you can hear that roaring throughout the park.
And the screams.
But if you think about the origins of the roaring, then yeah, it's kind of intense. There's a monster in there.
I am okay with that one, even though it's on my list because it is scary, but because you're going by so fast. So
That is
I
true.
never...
Yeah, it's not like he's running after you.
Yeah, exactly.
Although he does seem to catch up to you later on. So he seems to know his ways in and out of the
He's lived there
of
a
the
long
mountain
time.
trying to get you.
Speaking of coming to get you,
oh my,
one that should definitely be talked about that is extinct now as well is Alien Encounter.
Oh my gosh.
Which, have we talked about that?
I don't know.
I think we
we've touched upon it.
Did we do an episode on extinct attractions? We should if we haven't.
I can't remember. I'll have to look back.
It's hard to remember what we say ever, but Alien Encounter used to be very
It was
scary.
not just terrestrial, it was extraterrestrial.
That is true.
And honestly, if you bought into what they were trying to, the story that they were doing, it was frightening.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck in there with this guy who's ripping people's heads off. And brains are splattering on you.
It's true.
It's crazy.
And he's breathing down the back of your neck. And
yep.
I mean, I
You
feel
feel
like
the
I
tongue?
have definitely talked about this, but when they put the shoulder harness on you, I would always do this. If you're not watching, I'm putting my shoulders up in an extended shrugging motion because they would clamp down so hard, and I did not. And then when he jumps behind you, he's supposed to be jumping on the shoulder harnesses, and it goes down, and I was like, I don't want to have.
I cannot believe they got away with that because that's not only like we're going to put you through this super scary attraction, but we're also going to trap you.
Yeah, and it'll be in the dark.
And in the dark.
And I didn't want any like compressed vertebrae, so I just always put my kind of like when I ever went on It's Tough to Be a Bug, I would sit forward so that no wasps would get me in the back or whatever. Which I've since been told is like cheating, that I shouldn't do that, but
well, in a way, but I do it too.
I don't want any chiropractor bills.
Yeah, I know the effect is there, so I get it, but and it's fun to see everyone else react to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another one.
But yes, Alien Encounter was, literally closed down because people thought it was too scary, I guess. So
yeah.
I think it would be fun if they did something like that today that was less like physically scary, like keep your hands off of my shoulders. Yeah. But
that's probably pretty as close to like, the Halloween Horror Nights.
I guess, yeah.
As you could get. Wow. But yeah, sorry, let me just take a look through my list here because I've got so many. I was even thinking about the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough. There's a part in there where where you're literally just going through the story of Sleeping Beauty, but it gets where Maleficent comes and tries to get you and her little henchman.
Yeah.
Whew.
And they have that part where you are looking in the Hall of Goons.
Yeah.
And there's a window, and then there's another jump scare that gets you.
I won't tell you what it is.
A little guy that pops up. Which, if you're a little kid, that's definitely going to be like, Yeah. It was probably hard enough to drag them up the stairs to begin with.
This is the kind of stuff that just, I loved it though. But for some reason, I guess I must have, I don't know if I didn't like my first trips to Disneyland, but I surely must have.
Well, if you go multiple times, then you're like, hey, I did it. I conquered this attraction that I thought was scary, and I'm brave, and now
and that's how I was with
go back.
Space Mountain for the first time. I was there in 1977, right when it opened, and I was definitely scared to ride it my first time, and they were trying to get me to go on, and I finally went on, yelling, screaming and kicking and hollering. But then as soon as the ride was over, I said, let's go again.
And I think that's why so many parents try to drag their children on things, kicking and screaming, which really I can't recommend because it's not going to ruin your vacation if your child does not want to ride Space Mountain.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay, and he can ride it or she can ride it when they're ready. It really bugs me to see children in tears in the parks because their parents are forcing them to do stuff. Sorry, that was my mom moment.
I don't know if I was ever in tears, but it would not shock me to learn that if I was.
I mean, it was a different time back
when you were a kid
true. And when I was a kid. And, nowadays we worry about our children's psyche and all that stuff.
Speaking of,
yes,
I was thinking about it. there's an attraction, another dark ride at Disneyland that sends you to a really dark place. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
You know, I thought about putting that on my list, but I don't think it was ever really realistically scary enough to go on there. But I'll let you have it.
No, I'll tell you. It probably wasn't that, but it was the thing that got you to that. It was the head-on-head encounter with a locomotive coming straight at you.
Yeah, I guess. That's a fun experience.
Oh, yeah, I love it now.
But I can see, like, your very first visit. This is how I got myself through all of these things growing up, is it's Disney, they're not going to kill you. And that's, not on purpose anyway.
In that one, they kind of literally do.
Well, not
literally.
No, but that's how I talked myself through so many times when I did not want to go on scary things.
Okay.
Was that I would survive. And I did.
Yeah.
I've lived to tell the tale.
The people that are doing this are experts at their craft, and they know what people like and what they'll come back for, and they're just showing us a good time, even if it's a little scary to do. Thinking about it some more.
I'm done with my list, by the way. I'm going to go home now.
Are you completely finished?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm just getting started. Okay.
I'll just add color commentary to your choices.
Well, let me add this one too, because, and I'm just kind of jumping all over the place, but I remember a time when you were pretty scared. And this is a different kind of a scare. This is over at California Adventure at what is now the Pixar Pal Around, but at the time was Mickey's Fun Wheel. Well,
this is what I said the episode wasn't going to be about.
I know. But to me, that's a pretty intense thing. And yeah, it's the kind of thing that you said you weren't going to talk about. But not only is it super way up high, but then they have those swinging cabins that are like absolutely crazy bonkers. Yes.
Similar to riding a roller coaster or like a Tower of Terror and being scared by those kind of things.
Yeah.
That's not what the topic is.
Well,
I'm Xing that out.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you can't X out Tower of Terror because there's parts that's more than just the drop sequences.
I agree.
That are trying to get you.
Yeah. I'll let you have Tower of Terror.
Because the whole lead up into the tower itself is, it's quite full of doom. You go into the lobby where everyone seems to have vanished. Why?
Lots of dust.
Yeah. And then we find out the reason why. Lightning has struck and I guess sent people to the Twilight Zone. And then it sends us there too.
That's what happens, yes.
But yeah. And then if you think about it, over at Disneyland, they've now changed their Tower of Terror to the Guardians of the Galaxy
Mission Breakout.
Which is a fantastic attraction. But it's also pretty intense, and they've really upped the bounce factor.
Have you... I can't remember when we went there. I guess it was not Halloween time. So you guys have not done the Monsters After Dark experience.
No.
But I don't think it's actually scary, but it's meant to be. So I guess you could count that one. Because there's monsters.
I think we should.
And it's after dark.
But not the monsters from Monsters, Inc., right?
No. These are real monsters made out of computer things.
Eesh. I'm already a little scared now. Okay.
What else do you got there?
I've got a few other things. As you had mentioned, it's tough to be a bug, which was incredibly intense. But we didn't. It's more than just the little stingers. It's the bug zappers, the what do you call that? The DDT.
Bug spray?
Bug spray.
I don't think bug spray is scary to us as humans.
Ask any child who gets taken on that attraction. There are people who just...
Gio?
Wait, there was bug spray on that
one? Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I asked any child.
I've heard so many stories about people who their children just will not go on that attraction. Weird. Not just because of the little stingers, but because of everything. The spiders, the Black Widow spiders that come dropping down. It is very intense. Yeah. very intense, and it's a super short movie, too.
But it does, you know,
It really packs
tell
in
you
the-
up front that bugs will be involved. It is a 10 out of 10 on the bug scale, I've heard.
I remember that. That's true.
That is true.
I was also going to talk about a couple of shows. Phantasmic, where they really have the villains come out and try to interrupt Mickey's nightmare, or Mickey's dream, and turn it into a nightmare. Especially folks like Maleficent, who turns into a dragon, Captain Hook.
I guess
and
what we really need to draw a line with is what's scary for everyone or what's scary just when you're a kid. Because I think some things are still scary
that's a very
when you're an
valid
adult,
point.
like Alien Encounter, for example.
Gosh, absolutely.
But Phantasmic when you're an adult is not scary. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I will tell you that as a kid, I was also very sensitive to loud noises. And I was scared of like just anything that made a noise, including fireworks and like cannon blasts and anything like that. And so that just kind of multiplied that factor.
I remember watching Phantasmic while being pregnant with Christian. He's probably going to edit this out. And the like gunfire from John Smith's musket, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it made him jump
Oh,
in
wow.
utero. It was
That's
very
super
loud.
weird.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you think about it, like just riding around on the SS, on the Columbia, the sailing ship Columbia, just going around
Yeah,
Disneyland,
that's super loud too.
where they just fire the cannon there. That is super loud. It's not scary, but it's super loud. And if you're sensitive to loud noises, boom.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I mean, I was... speaking of areas like that, if you think about the new Galaxy's Edge, there's even a couple of scares there in Rise of the Resistance, where you're essentially kind of taken prisoner in a way. And you were at the clutches of the evil, I always forget his name.
Kylo Ren?
Yeah, that
How
guy.
dare you forget his name?
Well, I'm trying to forget his name because he's so mean.
It's hard to be mad at Adam Driver, though, so I don't really take him too
But see,
seriously.
I don't see it as Adam Driver because he's got his mask on.
I can not unsee it as Adam Driver. Sorry. I get it though. Yes, I'm sure that he is the villain. Those are the bad guys for sure. But I've never feared for my life on Rise though.
That is true.
I'm just like, this is my job now, is just like
Moderating.
nixing all of your choices.
Okay, let me go back in the past a little bit to journey into imagination, where a little Figment, who's just now kind of born with his ideas and thoughts, is now being inundated with, lightning.
Thunderous lightning on a stormy
night. Will turn it into a tale of
I can't start from the
fright.
middle. I have to start at the beginning to do the whole thing.
That stuff.
Yeah, me, who was scared of everything back then, I was okay with that one because it was, then you went into the nice, happy stuff after that, so.
That's true. But this was right after the super happy stuff with the rainbows and the white room and all that.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah, so right after that is when
I did become
Dreamfinder kind of takes it to in a dark way.
I did become obsessed at one point in my youth with Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, wow.
So I think because the Raven was there, like I would always take a picture of the Raven book, and I still have some very bad quality photos from my disc camera.
One of 15 shots from that.
Yeah. And one time I did a flash photo of it, and you can see like the item number on the back of the bookmark that was
Not
there.
good.
I know. Very bad. Probably wasn't me. It was probably my mom, because she did all the flash photos for me because I love the ride so much and I was going to miss it. Anyway, what else? Any others that I can say aren't actually scary?
Yes.
Okay.
Staying in Epcot and with an existing attraction over at Mission Space, not just the fact that there's spinning around going on, but you're actually being launched into outer space, and the whole going into hypersleep, that's kind of scary because then it's a multi-year thing.
No.
But then
Going to sleep.
no, but then you
That's
wake up.
enjoyable.
You wake up and oh my gosh, we need you right now to hit hit these buttons because we're about to crash land on Mars. And if you
I
don't
wouldn't
do
know.
your
I haven't
job
done
straight
that-
out of
that
sleep,
one.
you will crash land. Oh, and by the way, we put our landing strip right on the edge of a cliff. So if you don't put on the brakes, you're actually going to fall over the cliff and die.
But something always goes wrong in a Disney ride.
I
That's
know, but
the whole
Gary
point.
Sinise should be...
He's not even there anymore.
He is.
I thought they took him out when they redid it.
Come on.
I've only been on it once or twice, and it's been a while.
Easing us through this. He needs us to perform our functions.
I'm pretty sure they
so
took
that we
him
don't
out.
die.
Are you 100% positive that Gary Sinise is still there?
Have you been on the orange team?
No.
Okay.
He's still on the orange team? That's weird.
Yes.
Okay.
Wouldn't he be?
Well, they took him out of the other one. They put a lady talking
but
to you.
that's a whole different team. That's the green team.
Okay, because you're
or
just
the,
orbiting Earth on the green one.
Yeah. Nothing happened. You know, you kind of go through a storm.
Okay, I'm still
At that
nixing
one.
that. It's not scary.
Oh
There's
my
no
gosh.
monsters, no skeletons.
Wow. I probably should just throw out my whole list. How about this? Going to the Magic Kingdom, not Disneyland, Magic Kingdom Jungle Cruise, going through an ominous temple.
Yeah, I definitely
With
didn't
a-
like that part.
With the little tiger, who of course, has glowing green eyes. I get that one?
I mean, when I was little, yes, I definitely agree with that.
He could jump out at you. And,
Gio-
and
And other members of the audience, were you ever scared of Jungle Cruise
specifically
tunnel
that
part?
section.
Yeah, for sure.
when you were little? Sophia was,
I
yes.
mean, you're on a boat in the water.
Gio says you're on the boat in the water, so...
The first time I went on it, because the first time I went on it, I was scared because it's like leading you up for a jump scare. But then
Ah,
it didn't
yes.
happen, and then after that didn't happen, I was like, it's
Okay. So Sophia said, because the microphone is not going to pick up what she's saying at all, but she said the first time it's kind of leading you up for something's going to jump out at you and do a jump scare, but then that doesn't happen. So then she knew it was safe after that, which is why in the Disneyland version, when they added the piranha at the end,
Yeah.
that was fun because no one was expecting piranha.
That's right. And I
So-
had that too.
Okay, well, I stole your piranha
No,
thunder.
that's totally fine. And you remember when we mentioned Harold from good old Matterhorn?
Yes,
They kind of upped the ante a little bit when they put in Expedition Everest.
that's true.
Of course, now they've added a disco ball. But anyway, I'm talking about Expedition Everest. There's a Yeti in there.
I wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alleyway.
Who's literally there just trying to protect the mountain. And we're just kind of invading his turf.
Yes.
And he's just really just trying to protect his home. But when I first rode that, he actually moved, and his giant arm took a big swipe at the car and usually picked off like one of the two people in the last car as food.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
But
never got to
now
experience that.
it was amazing. And I think it was because of how amazing it was, that's probably why it broke.
You couldn't handle the amazingness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was such a huge
Yes.
animatronic. They built the mountain around it, and now that he's broken and needs to be fixed, they really can't do that without pretty much shutting the ride down, taking it apart, and then doing whatever they need to do.
I think they
fix
could
him.
do that.
So now they just flash lights at him, which kind of simulates movement, kind of. You can still see how creepy looking he is. And
Yeah.
what a scary face he has.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, I guess that does it then.
Well, I had something to add, and that was a quote that I like to forget the exact wording of.
Okay.
But it's basically a Jim Henson quote about how it was healthy. It wasn't healthy for children to always feel safe. And the Dark Crystal, this was when the Dark Crystal came out, and it didn't shy away from telling children's story with dark terrors as well as challenges to overcome. I can never find, I saw this quote a long time ago and I can never find the exact one again. But basically, he was saying that it's okay for kids to be afraid because it gives them something to overcome.
Yeah.
And look at us.
I am
We
just
all
now
overcame-
overcoming this because I think my mother definitely read that quote right before my 4th birthday and said, all right, let's really do a number on these kids.
Well,
And on their
she
4th
probably
birthday,
didn't
we'll
know
take
what
them
she
to
was sending you
Disneyland.
into. She probably thought Disneyland is all fun in games.
She had been many times.
But she
She
was an
knew.
adult. She wasn't scared of any of those things.
Yeah, I guess.
But anyway, we all overcame the fears and the terrors.
The only one that I haven't totally overcome is that Monstro.
But you love that ride.
It's my favorite ride. I kind of proposed to you on that ride.
You like to count his teeth every time.
Interesting that you say that. We'll get to that later.
What do you mean later? The show's over.
There's still the trivia corner.
Oh. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of another crazy episode of Up the Waterfall
This one
After
turned-
Hours.
/ therapy session.
Yes. This was a fun one. I probably was a little harsh on some of your picks, but I had to keep it to topic,
Yes, you did.
And if it wasn't really scary, I was calling you out on it.
What if it was scary to Pooh Bears? Okay, we won't go
No,
there.
heffalumps are not actually scary.
But what about woozles?
Actually, though, that freaked me out. I had an idea.
Okay, Sophia needs therapy now for heffalumps and woozles.
That's frightening, kind
I
of.
guess.
Not really,
I mean,
but-
it's just like overwhelming because they're big and they're like coming at you and their colors.
yeah.
Okay. They
So-
try to make it fun.
So yeah, I guess I should have included that one.
All right. Well, now you did. It's included.
Yay. All right.
All right. So that brings us to Trivia Corner.
That's right.
And you have to give us the spooky answer from last week.
That's right. We were actually talking about all of the great Halloween movies and specials that Disney made, and I was talking about how back in 1977, Disney kind of did a compilation called Halloween Hall of Fame, where they included all, like the short Trick or Treat, Lonesome Ghosts, Pluto's Judgment Day, as well as The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But it was all centered around a story of the night watchman at the Disney studios on Halloween night, and he encountering a jack-o'-lantern, and they were talking about, who wants to go out in enjoying the Halloween night.
Right,
And
they wanted
who,
to switch places.
That's right.
Yes.
But the question was, who portrayed the night watchman?
And I
old
incorrectly
actor?
guessed all three of the night watchmen from Night at the Museum.
One of whom was actually not Danny Glover.
Oh, who is it?
It was insert name here. I
Why
don't
did you
remember
even
his
bring it
name,
up if you
because
don't
it
know?
wasn't Danny Glover.
Okay.
We should look that up. I can't remember his name. I
Hmm.
apologize to this actor. He's fine.
All right.
Anyway, the person that portrayed the night watchman was, do you know?
Cobbs.
Bill Cobbs was in fact the third night watchman
Oh,
from
I don't know who that is. Sorry, Bill.
that movie, but he was not the night watchman.
Okay.
That
This
was
is way too much build
I
up.
know. Jonathan Winters is the correct answer.
Fun.
I know.
I used to enjoy him on Mork and Mindy.
He was Mork's son.
Yes. It was
But
very
he's
weird.
so much older than
But so were the 80s.
Mork. Yes, they were. But that does lead me to my trivia question for this week, and you pretty much guessed what the trivia question was. I was haunted by Monstro the Whale. And as he was
Sounds
chomping
like
down
a TLC special.
on me and all of the other guests as we entered his mouth full of teeth. The trivia question is, how many teeth are chomping down on you as you go through?
I know
his
the
mouth?
answer because you say it every time we go under there.
It's fun to count them.
It is.
It's kind of
I don't count them, though, 'cause
it's
you do.
therapeutically a way for me to avoid thinking about how I'm being swallowed by a whale.
Well, he does have a hole in the back of him, so you're not
Well,
really...
I didn't know that at the time.
All right. Well, if you know the answer to that, you can send us an email
Yes.
at Zanna@Zannaland.com. You can comment on the YouTube video for the show. You can comment on the blog post that will accompany it.
The answer
can-
may surprise you.
Write on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. We accept all forms of entry.
We do.
So we thank you for joining us on this crazy episode of things that
It
go
might
bump
have
in the
been
night.
the craziest episode ever.
We're doing this very late at night. We had to do it ahead of time because we have another event that's coming up. So we apologize if this was a little weird. But, you know, it happens.
I think I'll be able to sleep well tonight, though.
Will you?
I needed this.
Done all your therapy
I
now?
needed
Okay.
this to get this out of the way. I've
All
had
right.
a lot of trauma, and I think I've overcome it all now.
Thank goodness. We
Thank
can
you.
all rest easy.
Especially me.
We thank you, as always, for watching and listening. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe the video if you're watching, or subscribe, download the podcast, and give us a rating so that more people will find out about us and spread the news and the love.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again for joining us up the waterfall.
That's right. Anything's possible at Disneyland.